both of it at the same time. So honestly, my business and trying to adjust and figure out how to make this life work. It's been really hard to juggle all the things. I'm sure a lot of you that are moms can relate to that. So last year I had to really sit down and reflect because I was watching my business just slowly inch backward. And it was the worst feeling in the world to just watch 8.5 years of really hard work just slowly go backward. And a lot of people, I was starting to get distracted by all the things, people leaving and what the heck is Carl doing? And I was like falling into these mindset things that were just completely ridiculous. And I knew down deep in my soul that this is where I wanted to be. I believe in this wholeheartedly. But I was also coming to the awareness that some things that mattered to me 5-6 years ago just weren't important to me anymore. And I was still trying to claw my way and think about what was going to make me feel worthy in the business. And to me, that was like the elite program and different things like that, all the things that I deemed that were going to make me successful year after year after year. And last year I was nowhere close to locking in elite. And it took me a couple months to come to the realization that like, if you really wanted it, Kelsey, like you would have done it. That's your personality. And I had to kind of come down to terms with, well, what is important to me in the season that I'm in? And as I was watching my income slowly go backward through this transition in my life, I realized that the most important thing to me right now is my family and making sure my family is taken care of. It's always been my family and making sure they're taken care of. And the life that I'm living right now after 9 years in this business is not because I hit elite year after year after year. It's because I was so adamant on pushing for my income and building an income that was going to sustain the lifestyle that I wanted to give my family. And now that I have these two precious little girls, I know for a fact they're never going to remember me walking across the stage as an elite coach, even though it does mean something to me. Like becoming an elite coach is very important to me. And I'm not saying that it's not. However, I had to sit down and ask myself, okay, what are my kids going to remember? Are they going to remember that 30, maybe not even 30 seconds where they announce my name and I get to walk across the stage? Or are they going to remember the life that I was able to give them? Are they going to remember that I was at every single practice, that I took them to Disney World, that I was able to afford the beach vacation, that the home that we're living in right now, that if you would have told me of 9 years ago, I was living in a house like this, I would have been like, you're crazy. And so I had to think about that. And I get chills thinking about it because I had to sit back and really take a step back with my business and really think about how I wanted to mentor going forward. And I do believe rank advancement is very important. And I want to start this by saying that I believe rank advancement is very important. I believe that the road to elite is very important. I believe all that stuff is important, but I don't believe it's important if it's not in alignment with what I want out of my life. And so I have to make decisions at the end of every year. And I realized that I was pushing for these things. And I'm a hard worker and I'll give myself that. Like, I'm sure if you guys are on this call, you're very hard workers too, because this is a really high level call. But I was like, okay, I woke up on January 1st and I said, and I did not hit elite last year. And I said, holy moly, you're still alive. Everything's fine. You still have money coming in. Like you're doing okay. It's definitely taken a dip, but this is your chance with this new platform and this new rebrand. This is your chance to rebrand yourself. It's a chance to rebrand your mentorship, and it's a chance to reconnect with your team. And that is honestly, guys, I'm not going to say it is completely dead, and I'm starting over. I woke up in January as a diamond coach and a diamond coach coming from being a lifetime 7-star diamond with 4 additional star diamond CVCs. I woke up as a diamond and I was like, wow, okay. You really want to talk about the beginning? Let's start from the beginning. And so I was like, so I had a chance and actually have the screensaver of my computer because I was literally needing to be talked off a ledge at that point. Because again, I was like, holy crap, my business is falling apart. I was like, this is it. I'm done. I was like, I'm gonna have to get a job. And my husband was like, just chill. Take a deep breath. I was reaching out to my people. And if any of you guys can relate to this, I don't know, but I'm just going to be very vulnerable. But I have the background of my phone screenshots of the conversations that I was having through my text messages of my teammates and my best friends basically saying, shut the hell up. You changed my life. What else are you going to do? One person says, it's like the background of my screen says, what the hell else are you going to do? Go sell vitamins. Like they were like, just stay in alignment. Like, what are you going to do? Just stay in alignment with what you're doing because you changed my life. One of the messages in the background of my screen said, I had $5 in my bank account when you reached out to me. And now I literally was just able to purchase my dream car. So they're like, just stop. None of that has anything to do with it. Your rank doesn't define you. That like the fact that you didn't hit elite didn't define you. You're freaking good at this. The company's going through a transition, and guess what? So are you. And so I had to just take a step back and be like, okay. And I'm going to get emotional because like I told you, last year, like, oh, it sucked. But I'm going to say this right now is that I had to open my eyes this year and just be like, remember who you are. Like life isn't the same way that it was 5-6 years ago. Everything around me looks different, but you're still the same freaking hard ass worker that you were 9 years ago. Now it's just time to do this in the right way. So with all of that in mind, I looked at my team and I thought the same thing. I woke up as a diamond coach and I thought about it. Like, what if my coach would come to me as I woke up on diamond as a diamond coach and be like, you know what? You're obviously struggling. So I'm going to just, put you back down here to learn some basics. That would have literally crushed my soul, right? As a 7-star, 5-time elite coach, and now I'm ranked diamond. And she looked at my rank that week and said, wow, yeah, we're going to need to get back to some basics. That would crush my soul. However, I said, I looked at where the company was going and I looked at this big focus on PV and I said, okay, we're now able to earn Success Club points through PV. I know that if I can help my coaches make sales, they're going to make money. And I know that a big part of the defeat that my team was feeling is they would hit these ranks like diamond or emerald, and then they wouldn't be making any money. And they'd be like, well, this sucks. Like, why did I push so hard for this and reach out to 5,000 people to make no money? Well, then everything changed and we got this awesome incentive to be able to just like talk about what we cared about, like energize and recover and all these different things that were changing our life. And I just had this light bulb moment and I said, okay, number one, I'm not in a season right now with 2 very small kids. I'm not in a season right now to be mentoring one-on-one. And for those of you that are, I still think it's a great, effective way. However, I was like, I need to look at my life, and my life is not the way it was, 5-6 years ago. I need to be doing group things. And I want to make sure that everything I'm doing is going to be targeted toward where they actually are in their business. So I said this year, again, I'm really pushing to build for income. I'm really pushing to help my coaches earn money because it's not fun to be the only one on your team earning. I don't want that. That's not the kind of business I want to build. And so I wanted my team to be seen where they were, where they really were, not within what their rank said that week. I wanted to look based off of production. So I said to myself, well, does being a diamond coach right now, a ranked diamond coach, make me any less credible as a leader? Does it mean that I don't know what I'm doing? Does it mean that I'm not making sales? Does it mean that I'm not hitting Success Club or hitting my benchmarks? No. So I said, that's not the way that I'm going to view my teammates this year. Because then I started investigating. I started pulling reports out of my Coach Online office, and I realized that I had a lifetime 1-star diamond who was currently ranked emerald that was bringing in 5,000 plus PV to my organization in 1 month. And she was an emerald. And I said, okay, so I can put her down with the emerald coaches because that's where she's ranked. She's an emerald coach. Or I can be like, girlfriend, you got sales down. Now it's time to teach you how to build a team. So I decided this year for mentoring purposes is that I was going to be mentoring my coaches within 4 groups. And instead of basing it off of rank, my assistant runs a report at the end of every month and tells me everybody's PV, gives me their email, and then they get an invitation to the call that they qualified for that month. So I have a 100 to 200 PV call, and I'll break down everything I do on these calls in a second. I have a 300 and 400 PV call. I have a 500 PV call, and then I have a 1,000 PV call. And I do different things with each of these people based off of where they are. So does this make sense so far? I just want to make sure I'm keeping you guys on what I'm doing here. So after doing this, the first month I ran all these reports, and what was really exciting and kind of interesting to me is that coaches that were very quiet in the team, coaches that, weren't really recognized for locking in Success Club every single month or being an emerald or diamond coach, these coaches were bringing in 300, 400 PV to the organization every month. And that caught my attention. And what was really cool about it is I made recognition boards in team page that popped up in the first week of the month. And I said, congratulations to the coaches that qualified for the following calls. And then I put all their names based off of where they ended the month in PV. And I said, you'll receive an email from me. And this is for my entire organization, not just my PV, not my personally sponsored coaches. And I said, this is the call you've earned this month. This is when they'll be. These are the topics of the call. So all of these were like planned out ahead of time. And I said, this is what we're going to be focused on. So with that being said, I sent this email out to them and they got the links, whatever. So I just want to kind of break down to you guys on what I'm doing with each of these groups, and where, like, what my focus is on with all of them. So as you guys know, the 100 to 200 PV level is essentially our new coach level. That is an HD order plus maybe 1 or 2 sales. So these are the coaches in my brain that I realize, like, okay, they're not hitting Success Club yet, or they're brand new. They just came in, or, you know, and these, again, I'm not pulling anybody. It's like a preferred customer or anything. This is literally just the coaches. And so what I do with this group is that we have 2 calls a month. And on these calls, we're focused on the basics. What I'm realizing is that obviously a new coach needs to come in and they need to learn how to work the business. They need those things. But if somebody is continuously landing in the 100 to 200 PV category, they're not mastering the basics of our business. They don't understand how to invite. They don't understand how to have conversations. Like, they might be just missing something out of that new coach training or off of that Success Club system tracker that we have, right? They're just not understanding it. So every single time when I pick the topics for this group of individuals, what I'm focusing on are different things like how to invite, you know, commitment to your own journey, vision, making sure they're understanding how to hit Success Club. I'm helping them create a free group where they can invite people to. I am talking about what they can be putting in that free group, how to have conversations. I do a lot of, like, what I've been doing is, like, I'll have like a hot seat, like kind of like I'm doing right now, but I'll interview another coach and be like, well, let's have a conversation. So that way the other people in that category can go back and forth and I can kind of show them how I would close a sale. So we're really focused on understanding the basics of the business, because if they're stuck between 100 and 200, like I said, they're probably brand new and they just had their HD order come out, or 2, they've, like, maybe you're selling 1 thing a month. So my goal with this group is how can I get them from 1 to 200 to 300? I'm not focused on anything else other than, like, hey, they know on that group, on those calls, that I'm focused on helping them get to the 300 month call. And I tell them why they're pushing for that call. And so everything in that group, in that category, is 100% all things basics of the business. So probably like your guys' new coach training. So anything that you would do in a new coach training, that's what I'm talking about in that call. The 300 PV call level, once they get there, I really hype them up and I'm really excited about that. So again, I'm very, like, energetic on my calls. And I'm like, holy crap, like, you did it. Congratulations. Welcome to these calls. These people also have 2 calls a month also. And so these specific group of individuals, what I'm focused on with them is they know that their goal is to get to 500 PV. That's, like, our goal. That's the whole purpose of these calls, is I tell them why they want to get to 500 PV. And what I did in last month, their first one that I ever did with them in February, is I sat down and I showed them how, like, I broke down, this is what PV is, and this is how your PV is translating to income. My coaches I'm trying to teach them how to make money. So I'm showing them, like, hey, this is your PV is something that you can control. You can base your goals around PV. How much do you want to make? Well, let's reverse engineer that. And let's show you how many energizes you would need to sell, how many total solution packs you would need to sell. So in the 300 PV level, it's all about setting your goals around income, helping them establish what that income goal is to start off that would really help them and benefit them. And then I break down how to help them get there, help them reverse engineer it. We really sit down and focus on what their favorite products are, how to talk about those things on social media, how to get more people into their free groups, which is where I have them sell in free groups. Just so that's kind of why I keep bringing that up. It's like a insider group is what we call them. So they sell in there, but my goal is to help them get people into those groups. I talk to them about how to support their free community. I'm teaching them how to talk to people, social media strategies. So in this 300 to 400, my goal is, like, how can I make sure and help you? This is where I would be talking about Emerald. I want to help them unlock their team cycle bonus, but I'm not really going into that much stuff about rank advancement at this point. I'm making sure that they're understanding, like, hey, if you're landing around 300 to 400, you should be on the Success Club board. Like you're starting to bring people in, right? With the way the new system is. So that's where I'm focused on the 300. Once they get to 500, so the coaches that are qualifying for 500, they meet weekly. So they have one call a week. And it is roughly about 30 to 40 minutes. And then this level, what we're focused with them on is we're focused now onto the business. So now we know that you've pretty much you're starting to understand sales. Like if you're bringing in 500 PV, you're selling things, you're retaining people, right? They're continuing to order from you. That's a really awesome thing. So awesome. Now you're here. Now let's talk to you about how to increase your income. Let's help you become a diamond coach. This is where I'm going to say, now I'm going to start pushing you to rank advancement. But every time I talk about rank advancement with my coaches now, I'm always bringing it back to income. Okay, now if you're bringing in 500 PV, we need to get you to diamond, because now we're going to unlock that $18 a cycle bonus, right? Like we need to start building that up. And so what I'm doing in here is, again, 500 PV, they 100% should be locking in Success Club. I'm not going to say that's the case for everyone, because we all know that sometimes it's just not going to happen. However, that's like where I'm talking to these people on this call as if you're in Success Club monthly. Like this is something that you're doing monthly. You're bringing in enough volume to do that. You're selling total solution packs, all the things. And so now we're going to start focusing on how to build a team. So these people here, I'm starting to talk to them more on a leadership level. I'm starting to help them start to build their own teams. So with this, I'm telling them, what is making sure they really understand team cycle bonus? How can we increase the team cycle bonus? Are you understanding what your organization looks like? Where do you need to be placing people? How are we talking about the coaching opportunity? Here's how to run your coach sneak peeks. Here's how do we set goals around recruitment? Here's how to transition your social media. So now you're bringing in coaches instead of just clients, right? So that's what that 500 PV level 4 is. I'll be talking about email marketing in there. Here's how to start your email list. That way you can start reaching people in different ways. Maybe here's how to create a free resource to get more people into your pipeline, right? So that 500 PV level is, okay, you've basically already, I know at this point, if you're hitting this, you've listened to what I've said in 100 and 300 PV calls. Like you've got it. You're starting to do those things. Now let's take all that, because now you're earning income through your sales. Now let me show you how to build a team and take this up a notch. So that is what I'm focused on in those. And then the last group of people meets once a month, because the people that fall into the 1000 PV category will also be on the 500 PV calls too. So I just do a very small and exclusive call once a month, and it's a Saturday coffee chat. And it's for my 1,000 plus PV earners. And on this call, it is all things leadership. Like it is, let's talk. I'm going to show you how to duplicate all of what I'm talking about into your downline. So this one call a month is going to just help them. Like the whole method of this is, how can you start creating your own 500 PV earners in your organization? How can I help you advance up the road to elite? What are your goals? What is your dream? What's your vision? How can I help you achieve Star Diamond advancement? Who is in your organization that I can really help and pinpoint out of my other calls to help them advance, to help you? So that's what I'm focused on with the 1000 PV earners. So it goes from 100 to 200, where it's very introductory. It goes from 300 to where I'm really focused on helping them get to 500, master sales, understand how to get more people into the door, nurture them. Oh, and also in the 300 PV level, in 100, we're still talking about like client retention and all that stuff. So all the things that we're normally doing, I'm just really focused on helping them make more money. So that's why I've transitioned, because I want them to understand that if they want to earn more, they need to be setting the bar a little bit higher in regard to themselves. And the one thing that I love is, we all know this, and I guess why I mentioned at the beginning of this call that I think last year really was hard for me, is because I was relying so hard on my team for my success, when really, if I would have just mastered everything I'm talking about right now and said, you know what, my team cycle bonus is going down, Kelsey, increase your PV. You can control that. You can go out and sell more. You can go bring more clients in. You can go do all those things. No, my team has nothing to do with my yes, I love my team and I want to help them advance. But what I decided this year is, if I want it, it's up to me. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. It's not up to my team. It's not up to them to do it. I'm going to do what I can do on my end. And so what I'm going to do this year is make sure that I can produce as many 1000 PV earners as possible on my team who have multiple 500 PV earners in their organization, because the truth is that if we have people producing like that and we're teaching them how to rank advance within those and to go for the road to elite within those, they're going to be really freaking, even if they don't hit those rank advancement goals, they're making money. And that's what's going to keep them here. And so I'm just, for me, like that's pretty much all I had for you guys. But I think for me this year, I just realized that I was really tired of pushing and encouraging my team to build really flimsy organizations that are making no money. And I'd start off at hit emerald, hit diamond, hit diamond. And they would do it and I would hit. And then like I can tell you, I haven't had a single elite. I've had one elite year out of my 5 where I continued to maintain my rank post that year because none of the coaches were building solid organizations. And that for me, I'm like, you know what, again, I'm trying to build for legacy at this point. It matters what I'm doing in my life or my business, because right now that's affecting my life. It's affecting my kids. It's affecting my husband. So if I want to build a really strong organization that does not need me to be in it every single day of every moment of every single day, which I literally cannot do, then I need to be teaching my team how to build really strong organizations. And so that starts with me. I'm going to be making sure that my goals this year for my own business are definitely PV related. I have very high, I want to be like, averaging 1,000 to 1,500 PV a week by the end of this year, plus like in my own sales. So I'm really focused right now on my own sales and then and helping my team hit sales. So that way we're all making money. And once they master that stuff, then we can get into that logistics of how can we help other people do it. At the end of the day, they didn't sign up to do this for free. And there's nothing more defeating than being here for month after month after month after month and getting a $14 page or a $14 team cycle bonus when one of those people is your spouse. It's defeating, right? You're spending way more than you're bringing in, and that's not what I'm here for. So I'm just changing things up a little bit this year. I hope this is helpful, and I'm obviously more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
So you've been doing this now 2 months, correct? You started this in January, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Okay, great. First of all, thank you so much for sharing. So Courtney had a question. Obviously, it's centered around her whole team got stuck in the whole PC, right? Like the whole PC madness. So there's still not a lot of PV going on, I think, in her organization is what she's alluding to. How did you transition from obviously PC to changing the focus to PV?
I actually encouraged my team to stop signing people up that way completely. And they're only offering it if somebody's been a customer now for multiple months. So if they have multiple things coming out. On our order form for our team, which I've created one and then they just duplicated it. They have 3 options: customer, affiliate coach, or coach. And that's all they're picking. And when I sign up as affiliate coach, like for me, I'm sending them a coach enrollment. And then they still get to go through my coach process. So I just completely eliminated it. And then like in those 300 PV calls and then within that group of people, I'm saying, awesome, you have people that are retaining. So you've had somebody that's been ordering Shakeology from you for 2-3 months. It's probably the best now that you, like if they have no interest in the business, like go ahead and save them some money. And that's when I would introduce preferred customer. But as you all know, preferred customer, I think just kind of bit us in the butt, and I don't even touch that right now. I do have coaches that are like pushing for rank advancement that are signing people up that way. But I've seen in my organization completely shifted. Like it went from being so many preferred customers, I'm seeing way more volume and a steady amount of coaches, which has been really cool to see.
I just don't know what it is, but like I tell them, I'm like, either client or coach, like that's it. And for some reason, they still sign up as PC. I'm like, you guys are losing money, and they still do it.
Yeah, I get that too.
It's like, it's frustrating. Like I have this new coach she signed up in February, and she has 8 PCs signed up under her. And I message her every time. I'm like, client, sign me up as a client. Like I'm excited that you're like getting close to it, but please sign up as a client. You're going to be, I want you to make money. And she just keeps clicking preferred client. I don't understand. It's like confusing to her for some reason.
Is she like just really rank driven? Like, because that's the only thing I could think of is like meeting her.
She has no clue what's going on. She's brand new.
Yeah.
She's brand new. And I think it's because she sees preferred client and she hears discount. I told him, like, preferred clients, if somebody you think like going to stay on those supplements for a long time, they could get a discount. And so I just need to change my languaging. And the rest of my team, it is really, I'm going to be like 100% honest with you. We pushed for rank for so long and elite and all the things, which is great, right? But my whole focus this year is helping them earn more income. And even this year, like some of the top leaders on my team, I'll like pull my sponsorship drill down and 0 PV next to their name. And I'm like, I don't even understand how this happens. Like, how do you have 0 PV next to your name? Like week after week after week.
Yeah. The one thing that I did to kind of get my team in the mindset of it, maybe something you can do, is I did a call at the beginning of the year, really explaining how I was going to mentor them. And then I really focused on how PV translated into income. So I actually took one of my paychecks and then I showed them like, okay, this is what my PV was this week. And this is what my earnings were for like subscriptions. This is what my earnings were for this. So that way they could see like, oh, this is translating into this. And so the people that were having really low paychecks were like, oh, well, I could just be making like my team cycle bonus might be $14, but I do have control over this. So maybe just like set up a call with your entire team and just one of your team calls and just be like, this is where my head is at. That's kind of what I said with them. I was like, this is what I'm doing this year. This is how I'm going to mentor this year. If you still have rank goals, I'm not discouraging you from your rank goals. I'm still going to help you achieve those. But at the end of the day, like if you're trying to make money, this is the way that I would do that. So maybe just like a call breaking down and sharing one of your paychecks and showing them the translation between the two could be helpful.
I have one last question. Do you have team calls as well? So you do these calls like every other week and your weekly team calls?
I have one team call a month. It's just a calendar call and a kickoff call. And on that call, I say, if you're ready for your specific things, you're going to be on your designated calls through the month. So I went from like doing a ton of one-on-ones, weekly team calls to having roughly 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 calls a month. And they're usually, I tap them at 30 minutes. 10 calls. I forgot about 1,000, but yeah.
Do you do this for your whole organization, or are you having your leaders run their own calls?
I do it for the entire organization. And then if they want to duplicate it, they can. We do talk. I mean, our team never really separated, I guess. So we've always done things together. But I do know that a couple of them do like once a month calls with their own PS coaches, which is great. But they usually have them come on to mine. Like I just send the email to anybody that qualified. So my assistant will send me their emails and then they get it and then they can decide. And then like I said, the recognition graphic, we have a call tonight for 300 PV. So there's a big recognition graphic in my team page with everybody's name. Like congratulations, everybody who had 300 PV. You just got an email from me with your link for tonight's call. And here's the top. I just don't like like I said, my team's dead. So like I'm taking control of what I can control and
but I think you're speaking to a lot of partners that are on this call right now that probably feel the very same way that you're just mentioning, Kelsey.
Yeah, it's been tough, but I'm like, you know what, Kelsey, just get it together. Just do it yourself because that's what got you to where you are anyway.
And I'm sorry I missed this, but how many calls do you do with the 300 to 400?
I do 2 a month and it's 7:30 on Tuesdays every other week. So like I'll rotate. So I technically have a call every single week, but it's like 100 PV and then the next week will be 3 and then 1 and then 3.
Okay. And then 500 is your weekly and 1,000 is your Saturday call.
Yeah. And the 500s are like an afternoon call. So I try, like I said, I'm doing this year where it's like, what makes sense to Kelsey? Because for me with 2 small kids, like I don't want to do night calls anymore. Right. So I'm like, I will designate that, give my husband Tuesdays to say like, I'm on a call on Tuesday, but like everything else is usually spaced out during the week or on a Saturday morning.
I love that because I was in the same season of like doing 1 million one-on-ones and like then having team calls. And I felt like I have 3 kids and it's just, I'm not in a season I could do that. But I was like dreading getting on calls because I was like,
we're also after this month considering doing only one 100 to 200 PV call and making it like a brand new big coach call. And then I'm probably going to go and do live videos in my calls or in my team page, like Q&As twice a month to make my life even easier. To get rid of another night call. I'm shocked my child made it through this
Oh my gosh. So Kelsey, question for you. I mean, obviously you've implemented this. It's been going for the last 2 months. 2 months in, what would you feel like, what has changed, if anything, in terms of from your team's perspective? Maybe it's hey, they're engaged more, they're actively participating. Like, what's changed positively as a result of you implementing these PV mentorship pods?
So my team is very recognition driven. So they're all being recognized right now. No matter where they fall, they're being recognized. And that's really exciting to them. And since February is a short month, I cannot even tell you guys, like I put the post up on the 1st where they all ended. And it was like a mass riot because the month was short. So they didn't get the March 1st PV. And they're like, well, I would have been in 3. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'll just include the March 1st. So they're like excited about it because they're shooting for different goals now. So they're setting their goals based off of where they want to land. And so like one girl like reached out to me yesterday, she's like, I know that like it was a short month, but I had 400 PV in 1 week on March 1st. Like I really would like to be in it. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're going to be in it. So I went through and I reran everything and included March 1st to make sure it all worked. But in a normal month, that wouldn't happen. But that just showed me that they're like pushing to be on these calls. Like they're really excited about it. That big team call that we do to start off our month, like I highlight them on that very first call. I say, you guys will be getting your emails soon. So like they're getting recognized in front of everyone. And then I shout it out weekly. I like as the call comes up again. So like in 2 weeks, they're all going to get shouted out again. So that's kind of, they're loving that. So I think like just speaking to what your team's love language is per se, my team just wants to be shouted out. Like have not had a person on my team that's like, I don't want to be recognized. They love seeing their name. And when it comes down to PV, every single person's name in your organization is on that board, no matter where they fall, as long as they've if they've done something outside of just their HD order. I do Success Club recognition. Yeah, I do. And I still really push. I'm not like, I want you guys to know, like, I'm not like discrediting anything else we've ever done before. I'm just putting a mass focus on the PV section. So I do really highlight Success Club. And then I will tell them like the people that are hitting high Success Club numbers. So that Emerald coach that was at 5,000 PV, she ended her month at like Success Club 24. And then I show them like there's a correlation, when somebody's pushing for higher PV to what's happening with their Success Club numbers. So I am connecting it more so that way rather than somebody who's at 100 at 0 on the Success Club board. So.
Okay, listen, we have
one last question.
Oh yeah, please, Carly.
Are you recognizing the Road to Legacy as well?
I am, yes. And they love that too. They do love that.
I think that's like really similar to what you're talking about with PV because it's just so income oriented.
Yes, they love that. So everything that's income this year is what I'm focused on. If it's like income, it's the top of my list.
Okay, I know we have Kelsey, first of all, and girls, thank you so much for sharing this PV mentorship. Kelsey, I think this is really smart because at the end of the day, to your point, all of them are here for an income. Yes, they're here for the fun, the community, but at the end of the day, they're here for an income. So if I was to ask you, based on what everyone had just heard from you, if they were to implement one thing of what they heard today from you, what action would you have them take?
I would go in with one of your paychecks and break down why they need to be focused on this. That's the first thing I would do, is I would schedule a call, say everybody get on this call, run a PV report, and just show where everybody landed in February and say, let's all focus on getting 100 more. And then here's why. Here's how that correlates to what you're doing. This is the PV I brought in, and this is how it translated into my income. That was what was really eye-opening for my team. That's how it all started.
That's great. That's great. And that's something very tactical that each and every one of them, all the coaches here, that they can do that. So, okay. Was this helpful? Yes. So helpful. Okay. Kelsey, where'd she go? Oh, there you are. You moved on my screen. So one of the quotes that you said is remember who you are, right? Like remember who you are. And for each and every one of us that's on the call, regardless of your rank, regardless of the circumstances that happened last year, like remember who the hell you are and what you represent, because it's so much more than rank. It's so much more than that. So thank you all for being on the call today. We will reconvene our next call on the 21st.